Hello students, welcome back to Mr. Yr11 Technology channel. For this lesson, we're going to look at the Industrial Technology Theory Assessment 1, the Wooden Kitchen Stool project. So for the assessment notification here, we have you recommended parameters for the kitchen stool, which is the material list. So this will be the approximate dimension that we can play around for this project. And the expectation is you may increase or decrease this measurement a little bit, but not too much. But take note, we have standardized the thickness for all the timber to be 19 millimeters. So always bear in mind that your thickness cannot go beyond 19 mm. Okay. The assessment notification also gives you a preview about the orthogonal projection drawing. So of the pieces, once you have done the CAD model, you have to export it as an orthogonal projection drawing with all the detailed dimensions, and also must include the label. So this is the example that you all need to follow. I will show you how to do this one later on. And please take note that these are the knowledge to be covered in this project. Let's dive into the model. Alright, by default, you should be using small object millimeter as is being shown in the material list. Form convention is in millimeter. So always remember, once you use the small object millimeter default template, to open it, your working grid is pretty small. So it's recommended to always go to the file and look for settings and make sure you change the grid into 2000 somewhere here, so you have a bit enough math to work with. That is the first step. And when it's done, you can go back to it for Windows Move. Alright, to navigate this interface, always make sure that you have turned on the grid setting and the gumball. And make sure that the persistent is always being activated with end, near, midpoint, intersection, and coordinates turned on. And those are the basic setup when you just start the project. Okay, let's look at the dimension for the top. So here you can see the kitchen stool top with a dimension of 360 by 280. Let's use the first tool, which is the box. And I'm going to click on the top. And where I usually click on the 0 point here, so I will type in the number for 360. You can take a look on the top left corner here. Alright, you can just click the function and then enter the dimension. I'll use 360. Press space bar. Type in 280. Press space bar. And now we are in perspective mode. So from here, you can see once you have set the length and the width, and this will be the wireframe, the showcasing the approximate shape and sizes. But I haven't set the height. The height is in this project, which is the timber thickness. To make this wireframe more visible to our human eye, I will do two-finger click on the perspective and turn on the shaded mode. Once I click and turn on shaded mode, I will then type in the height to be 19 and press the space bar. And this is our first 3D blocks that you have created for your kitchen stool. When it's done, next step. To allow you to always easily look at the center line of the whole project, I will recommend that you turn on the gumball, select the pieces that you just created, and click on the center Y dot here and snap to the 0 point. So you can see in the grid, Rhino always indicates that the absolute 0 point with a green and red line. This is the absolute 0. So once you set it here, And you can see the little pieces now align horizontally and vertically perfectly at the middle. Okay, next we will look at the leg. The legs consist of two pieces. Dimension recommended is 260 by 280. Thickness, say 19. So the length, which is the height, and the width, which is the width. So now let's get it to it. I will turn to the right view. So now I turn the gumball and I will observe. If I turn to the right view, I should be able to see a blue arrow and a green arrow. And here we go. So here, what I need to do is to ensure that I'm going to create another box with the recommended dimension. So I can literally just click anywhere. Just click anywhere first. And I'll type in the dimension of 260 by 280. I'll just click here, 260 by 280. Alright, thickness same, 19. Once done, I'll quickly go back to the perspective mode and have a look. So here you can see, like both pieces that are not coordinate to each other correctly. And what to do is to make sure that I will snap these pieces somewhere around the edge. So let me introduce the first movement tool, which is just called a move. If you have turned on the midpoint snapping, you just call the move function, M-O-V-E, move. Here, press spacebar, allow your mouse to snap to the midpoint and move it over to the midpoint as well. So in this case, these pieces are now snapped to the midpoint, and I can easily just move it in. So I'm going to minus 30 to move in and give a little bit room to the edge here. And once it's in, the next thing I'm going to do is to give a little bit style at the side. So I don't like the style of the legs that is just being too square. I would like to have a slightly tapering top. What I'm going to do is I will move the leg a little bit lower to give me room. So let's minus 50 out. And I will hold on the command and shift key together. So when you look at the keyboard, the command and shift keys are located at the bottom left side of the keyboard. You're going to hold both keys together and then click and drag a selection box to input the top surface here. So once you have selected the top surface, you can easily use the gumball, the scale function, where you can see the little green arrow, click and drag it inwards. In this case, I have created a 3D ring. When it's done, I will then observe and inspect if this is what I want, and I'm happy enough. I will now go to the right view and look at where I want to cut the mortise and tenon. Of course, first I gotta move the top pieces down a little bit. So if you are unable to have a perfect snapping, so let's take a closer look. So here you can see the bottom edge of the stain top is about half millimeter away from the bit. So what you can do is to move it down. So the arrow indicates positive movement. So you want to move downward, which is the opposite, which then will become like minus 0.5. And when it's done, I'll move these pieces up together. When it's almost touching, same thing happened here. It needs a line about 0.5 mm, so I need to align first 0.5 to them perfectly aligned. And then I got to observe if this is the shape I want. I will then confirm. But now I'm not very happy with the angle, so I think I'd like to extend a little bit outward. Alright, I'm not happy with this. So once done, we will then cut out the mortise antenna. The method I'm going to show here is a little bit different from the one that I had previously shown in class. But doesn't matter, right? Let's cut out the mortise antenna. So if you look at the sample project here, you can see the mortise antenna actually are two sets. Okay? One's on the left leg, the other on the right leg. And both sets consist of two parts. So let's create the left one first. To cut the mortise antenna, you need to have a box as well. And in this case, I will just draft a box somewhere from here. And I'm going to give the length, alright, a little bit inwards. So this one doesn't matter because at the end we are going to cut it out. So I'll just put somewhere here. But the height I haven't ensure that, hang on, I'll just click from here. And then the corner of this, I'll have to observe because the material thickness is 19. So I'll have to ensure that it's about 19 height. Okay, just click here, put perspective. Make sure that this block is long enough to trim off the leg later on. So just create a cutter over the right view, and we're going to use the command mirror over to the other side. And I have to create another block, so I'm going to duplicate this one by holding Option key, bring it to the middle, and that's it. So what I just did is I created three blocks that are going to function as the cutter that's going to trim away the leg. Alright, once I have the cutter put in place, I will choose the leg first, and then call the command called boolean different, and I make sure that I hit the delete input, and click the cutter, and press spacebar, and you are done. Once you have done this part, we can then bring this distance up for 90 mm, and then you will be able to see that how it's protruding up to the top. But of course, that's not the end. We will then have to come back to the right view. And this time, we're going to create another box here that functions as the leg cutter to trim away some of the legs here. Okay, let's use a rectangle this time. Very simple. Just place the rectangle anywhere that you want. Make sure that we go across the same distance. So now you can see that this rectangle placed at the middle of the leg. And because I want to trim a trapezium or cut here, so what I will do is I'll bring it down and ensure that it's like these two control points and not get rid of it. I'm not very happy with the angle, so I will bring it a little bit higher and move it up. And that looks alright to me. So once I have created another trapezium framework, I'll go back to perspective and observe the position. Everything looks alright. And I will use extrude surface, or extrude curve, sorry, and alter the solid. And what I'm doing now is create another cutter. So once I'm happy, I will pick up the leg, hold it different, take the cutter, and we trim away the legs. And make a nice half cut at the bottom here. Once done, I can then take this one. Alright, so so good. So next, before we do the mortise antenna cut at the top here, which is the mortise on both ends, I will have to duplicate the legs first. So go to the front now, and I'm going to mirror it. Tightly mirror, tap the midpoint, and there you go. Last thing, which is the center rail. Center rail, the size is recommended at 60. So the total length will be 320, and then the height will be 60. So when I look at this one, 320 may or may not follow entirely. It depends on where you position the both legs. So for now, I will just take the measurement of 60 for the height, and then the thickness will be 19. So let's go back here, go back to the right view. I create a little rectangle frame. Press anywhere, type 19, with the thickness, and then the height will be 60, and there we go. So now I will take the center one and move it here, and that will be the rail. So one means I have settled down the size of the rail, center rail. Quickly go back to perspective, look for the position. Right now, I believe center rail should be alright. Let's go back here, have a look. Okay, looks alright to me. Yeah, go back to the front. I will then call out the command, which is extrude curve again. Extrude curve. So just how we're using solid, and this time around we don't extrude the both sides. So once you activate both sides, and then this thing can actually expanding both ends. Make sure that you have activated the intersection, so now you can see that it's appearing intersection. Click and confirm. Easy, right? So once you get center rail done, you notice that if you cut the center rail like this, the mortise won't work because the tenon doesn't have a stopper here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a box again. Yes, we're going to use the box again. Go to the box. So create a little offcut here. Keep it about approximately 10 mm, 9 to 10 mm. And I'm going to put the stopper in. Just draw across. Or I'll just create a little cutter for me to use as the rail and cutter. And then I'm going to mirror down, pick up both, Command G to group there, and then I'll mirror over to the other end. Alright, so now I have two sets of cutter. I'll pick up the center rail, mark the line. Let me just take this one. I will pick up the center rail. Let's look at the perspective mode. Pick this one, call the volume return, click on the cutter, and done. So now you can see the center rail has the tenon being removed at both ends. Last but not least, before we do the final touch-up, let's look at the carrying hole at the top part here. So as we have been using 19 mm for the thickness, the overall thickness, I'll go to the top view and decided to cut something about 19 to 20 because that is the approximate size for the fingers. So starting in a hole that we can fill up, but let's create box. Create any box, put anywhere, give a dimension approximately about let's just put 80 for now. 20. And the height we decide to be 50 because I'm actually making this as a cutter. And I'm going to place at the center of the stool. Bring it down a little bit. And then observe. So this time around, I realized the hole may be a little bit too small. So we use the dumbbell and a little bit outward. And here we go. Once done, click top, go to this one again, click and trim it off. So what to do? Once you have done everything, and you may notice that if I move these pieces up, there is no mortise hole here. So you need to bring it back, and you're going to take the top, and call the volume return again. As we are using the leg as a cutter, but we still want to keep the leg after all, so we're going to disable the input, click the leg on both ends, press enter. So now we have the bodies cut out. And the same thing happening on the leg here. Use the leg first, press volume return, take the rail, make sure that you are not delete the input, and press enter. And that's it. Well, once you have reached to this stage, you are pretty much done, except that the current design of the kitchen stool are just pretty sharp and boring. So what I will recommend you to do is to round up some of the edges. For example, I will round the steering top here. The next function that I will call is called fillet edge. So we call fillet edge. And you may want to observe what will be the most ideal radius. So right now I can see the most ideal radius will be approximately 12 to 16 mm. So let's try this 12 first. And then pick up the corner, pick up all the four corners, press space bar. You'll have a hook. So we'll fix up the leg. So the leg is the one that I don't want to use a finish. Let's do it again. All four corners. Have a preview. So the radius looks fine to me. And then I will want to round up the steering top edges as well. So I will change that to about 6. So I will check the edge to 6 for the next corner. So let me just redo again. 12, 12, 12, 12. And then next radius 6. So now I will click the top edge all together and then pass the bottom up. Once you press space, done. Looks alright. Next, I'm going to look at the center hole here. So we have used 20 mm and beyond to open this. So I will just use the fillet here and give a slightly larger number. For example, I can give a number to about let's try 15. 15, 15. That's all four corners. For the preview, it looks alright. Cancel and then do it one more time. 15, 15, 15, 15. And then the next radius, I will follow the outer one, which is 6. So pick up and 6. So pick up the top and bottom edge. Alright. That's it. Next, I will look at the legs and the rail. So center rail, I will still follow the same dimension, which is 6 mm. I can just simply push all there, finish. And then I will start looking at the legs here. So the legs, would like to round up these two little corners here, plus outside. To keep the same design language, so I will use 12 first for all the outer edge. So 12 here, 12 here, 12 here, 12, oh no. Let's take this angle, 12 and 12 and 12. And take note, this is just my personal style that I'm using this dimension. For the actual student work, please refine your own style and dimension. Do not copy this entirely. And once done, next radius I will change to 6 to keep the rest of them the same. 6, and then again up again 6, and then here as well, and then the other side 6, and here and here. Alright, so now we have rounded up all the edges, and you just need to quickly double check if it looks alright. So once you're happy with your designs, we will then look at the material. So now this is just a very plain model without any material, grease. And then before you apply material, we're going to separate different sections into different layers. So you can see right now we are under the panel layer here. I will change the name. This will be the top. Next one will be the legs, and then the rail. Okay, let's transfer that. Here's the legs, and this is to the rail. And once done, we will look at the material. Oh, but before material, you may want to turn on the environment, and then you want to turn on rendering. We will leave this for now because we're going to apply material first and have a look at the visual outcome. So if you change to use render, you'll notice the model currently is just all white. Okay? There's no material, no finishing, nothing. What I'm going to do is to quickly click and choose material from this little white dot right under the layer panel. Click on it, and I can see right now this is under default material, which is plaster. Okay, so normally any project you can happily just select from here. All these are the basic ones, but because this is a Kindle project, so you need to import from the material library. Alright, so we're going to import from material library, and in the material library, ensure that you have turned on icon. Go to wood. If this is the first time you open it, this may take some time to load the preview, as I just changed to my new MacBook, so this may take some time to load it. But for now, I will just choose Pi for this demonstration of it. I will change to use Dual Pi Polish and open. Wait for the material to load, and once done, apply. And then you can see the material finished. Next, we're going to look at the legs. We're going to do the same thing. Do not utilize the existing one. You may want to import one more time because the surface mapping will be a little bit different. So same thing, go to wood, go to pine, or you keep using, get a new material with the same setting? No. So click here to assign material, because you just have a duplicate one, so you need to do this thing. Alright, one more time. So this is a warning, right, when you have the same material. Once again. Right there will give you the different names here. Click apply, and you may notice that the timber grain are facing in the wrong direction. So we will correct that later on. So now I will just click the center rail and then change the material as well. I will add material to the same thing, to the wood, to the pine, polish, dry. Alright. So the reason why I was separating all the different layers, okay, is to make sure that when the material has the surface, the mapping will be controllable. So now you can see that the silver fine wood grain is going horizontally, which is completely wrong. So what I will do is I will go to the material settings here, and I go into the mapping by clicking on the name, and then extend out, and I can see rotation. So rotation, I will just type 90, and then click apply, and apply. And this will correct directions now for me. And that's alright. So move on next. You may notice that if you use all material the same, it looks pretty boring. Okay, so I will then do a little adjustment. Maybe I will change another material a little bit here. So let's change another material. When you have a material assigned to the layer, it will be very easy for you to just click on the drop-down menu, go to import from material library, and then you can just look at what wood that you want. So let me see if I can activate the preview. None. Okay, right, it's still system still loading. It will take a while. This time around, let's try using oak. So I will use oak polish, open, and see that the mapping is in the correct rotation. So I will assign 90, apply, apply. And that looks better actually. Look at that. Before we can finalize the rendering, right, one more thing to do. Remember, you just open the environment and rendering. Now look at the environment. Once you turn on environment, let me bring this up a little bit. You can see the current environment is Studio, which is very clean and thick. Alright, I will go scroll down and add and import from environment library. So I'll just pick up warehouse for now. You can try other environment, but for this case, I will just pick up warehouse. And then I will go to rendering. Here, I will choose the background to be gradient. Right, that gives a little bit touch on the depth of field. And then I will change the environment for reflection to be warehouse, as well as the skylight to be warehouse. And once done, you can see that the sheet right now looks a little bit more realistic. And if you are happy enough, well, you can try to rotate the environment. Let me find out the rotation here. So we can actually rotate the environment to have different lighting. So you can see that if I rotate, right, there's a different lighting appear there. And of course, if you want, you can change angle as well. And I don't want the high reflection to be there, so I'll change the angle a little bit towards the front, somewhere here. And then if you want a even stronger shadow cast on the floor, you can try to turn on two more settings. One is light, and one more is sun. Let's try to turn on the sun. Alright, just turn on this one and use manual control, and you may adjust the sunlight with different angle facing. And notice the sunlight looks a little bit too bright, and that's because by default the sunlight is in full blast. One means it's 100%, so I will actually drop the sunlight by lower. Oh, and high. Then let me click on it. So 0.5. And that will drop the sunlight so that it's not so glaring. Okay. And then if I'm happy, and this will be the preview of the product rendering. Alright. So now we have just completed the 3D CAD. Next, you may want to look at how you can actually export the current 3D model to the isometric drawing and also to the orthogonal projection drawing. Alright, So let's look at the full set of orthogonal projection drawings first. Let's go back to shader mode. And I will change all the layer color to be black, easier for me to manage later on the outcome. Or otherwise, if you use all fancy color, your drawing will also look very fancy, which is what we don't want. Okay, look at the model. I will then get to set wheel and set my symmetric, mess up such of these. Okay, that looks alright. I'm going to choose the entire kitchen stool, go to dimension, make 2D drawing, make sure that you have turned on third angle projection drawing. Let me zoom in for you to see. You're going to ensure you turn on third angle projection drawing from the input object. For this case, we don't need the hidden line, so you can disable it, but make sure you turn on the tangent edge and also the silhouette. And hit type. The machine will do the rest of that for you. When it's done, go to top view, and you've got all your drawings done. When you wish to move it sideways, to give a little bit blank space for you to do the full set of orthogonal projection drawings, I will move this a little bit outward. I will move this thing slightly upward as well. And then I will move the whole set of drawings even higher. Alright, I think I'm going to move this back a little bit. And give a little space here. Alright, so that looks good. If you're happy with the drawing, you then have to take them all together and click on the layout. So usually the stool will be able to print out a maximum A3 size for you. So you may want to choose A3 size, and then you may want to choose the landscape and click apply. So double click on the canvas. Alright, the reason is if you don't double click, the canvas will actually scroll zoom in and out together. But when you double click, you unlock the canvas and you can then zoom in and zoom out. And this is important because if you look at the scale here, you will notice that the current layout scale is 1, and you need to make sure that the model scale is a full number. For example, I set 1 to 5, and that will 1 to 5. Alright, and when I'm happy, move the position, adjust a little bit. Once finished, I will just double click to lock it. So from now on, no matter how I zoom in and zoom out, the drawing will not change. They will stay there. And if you're happy with this one, well, actually I'm not very happy because I may not have enough space for label later on. So I'll move up a little bit, and also move this up a little bit. Let's put somewhere at the middle. Okay, that's it. So this part, once you have done, you just need to quickly double check if the scale are still correct. Then lock it, and then you can start zoom in and out to do all the necessary dimensions. In this case, I will show you 3 different types of dimensions. The first one will be linear. Linear dimension works perfectly for anything that goes horizontal or vertical. For example, if you want to measure the total length of the top, I'll just measure across the longest distance and just move it out so I get the 360. I can measure from here as well. I get 280. And why this is called linear dimension is because, let's say, when I call the command out, if I just anyhow, okay, I can click one point here, I will click another one point here, and you will still get a dimension correctly displayed, whether horizontal or vertical. So this is one thing that we guarantee you, they will always perfectly align horizontally and vertically. But sometimes you may not get lucky to have the perfect angle. For example, the leg is trapezium, the output also trapezium. So how do you measure that? Then we have to use dimension and line dimension. For example, I will start with the highest spot here and the lowest spot here, and we're going to measure. This will be the total dimension. Or I can measure the side, top to bottom, and before the rounded edge, and this will be the diagonal dimension. Okay, a line dimension allows you to align the measurement wherever you want, right? It won't align perfectly vertically and horizontally. You will go with the A angle that you are measuring. Last but not least, we're going to measure the radius or diameter. You can use radial diameter if you want. You can just click here, the outer curve, which is approximately, oops, wait, hang on, something changed. Hi, what's going on? Not sure what happened just now, but it seems I have toggle something like that, yeah? Let's just fix it. Okay, then I can see that. Let's do it one more time. Radial dimension. Click this, and we have bottom something around 21 to 20.9 something. Where we'll just assume that this is about 21. Okay, so whenever you have, whoops, that's going on. Why the dimension interesting? Let's just leave it. Alright, so come back here. Whenever we have problem with the decimal point, right, one way to tackle this is to go to the annotation style. Or you can disable the decimal point if you want. Let me just change it. So I will go to the length unit. I will change the resolution to be full number. Then as angular. Angular, I will just keep the decimal point. Letter 55, colon, okay. Text height. Let's change the 3. Install. Okay, now we have all the full number here. And then when we place the radial dimension, it will be full number. So I can place another one, which is outside 21. Alright, so these are the 3 useful type of dimensions that you can use on your drawing. And remember, the last one will be dropping out the label box here. And that we can just simply do with the line. For example, I just draw some lines across. And then I can draw different boxes. Like for example, if I'm happy with here, I can then use the dropping tools to put in the text. The text I will put here like text, for example, scale 1 to 5. And then make sure the text height is alright. So let's change the text height to be 5. And then you will place the text here. You can do this in Rhino here, or if you want, you can export it as a PDF file, and then you can do it in using Adobe Illustrator. But if you want to save time, okay, by not export and import between different apps, you can do everything within the Rhino apps here. Okay, so that's this will cover about 95% of the assessment work for the hand part. Next, which is the last part, is to show you how to do the exploded view. So far you see that whenever you click, the gumball will be activated. Alright, so I will actually turn on one of the very interesting functions, which is called a snapshot. And then from here, I will just click on the snapshot and mix to ensure that the animation will work later. Okay, yeah, that's all. I will save one snapshot. Okay, apply. And I will ensure that the snapshot options are all being selected. And I will cancel another view. Alright, showing all the pieces together. So move this out. Let's move 200. Then this minus 200. And then this is the snapshot on the 2, apply, and apply. Of course, remember to save it first. Stool, save it on the download folder. Save it. The snapshot allows you to restore the condition of your 3D CAD model. For example, if I double click this one, it will do assembly work for me, and you go back to a particular angle. And if I click the extruded one, it just opens up. And no matter where I click, we always go back to the particular angle, and all the condition works well for me. You can even do like a stagger joint. For example, I can go back here, and I will move this up 200. Zoom out a little bit, and then record. 3, apply, apply. And then I move these two pieces out. Here, you can do this to showcase how you want the design to be pulled apart. And if you're happy, you can then select the extruder view drawing. Remember to set it back to the perfect southeast. And then go with make 2D drawing. This time around, we don't need to make everything, we just need one automatic drawing. So I'll just click on the wheel and then hit apply. That's quick. So here, I will move it to the bottom. And then I will choose the layout. Add one more layout here. New layer, let's call it the extruder view. Perfect. Zoom, zoom. So make sure that the scales are correct. Perfectly, and that's it. So in the Explorer view, you may want to add ladder to indicate what are the parts, and that can be actually found from here, ladder is production. Okay. Once you call the command, the ladder lead leader, you can just click anywhere. For example, this is the leg, and click, move out, horizontally, touch space, and put legs. Leg B, apply, and you'll see the name there. Then for this way, click, and easy, look, apply. Alright, that's how you add the different name over different pieces. And also remember, you need to put the labels underneath with all the information that you want to show. Alright, that's all for this lesson. Hope you enjoy it. Happy modeling and make technology great again.